Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. We have some amazing news. It looks like we're finally going to get the fight that everyone has been talking about for a while now. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler has been verbally agreed upon, and it's going to happen at UFC 268 on November 6th. This is the same card that's going to be headlined by Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2, and it's being targeted for MSG in New York City. So this is already a great card, even though we only have two fights announced so far. I'm going to give you my early prediction for the Gaethje versus Chandler fight at the end of this video. But first off, this is just such a great fight. And I crap on the UFC when I feel like there's terrible matchmaking and I didn't want to see this fight or that fight or, this interim championship didn't belong. But I have to compliment them when they put a fight together that is just amazing. And this Chandler versus Gaethje matchup is the fight that everybody wants to see, myself included. I mean, Gaethje has never been in a boring fight, I swear. Even in World Series of Fighting, he had amazing fight after amazing fight since he's been in the UFC. And if you haven't watched every Justin Gaethje fight, I encourage you to go look. He fought Michael Johnson, great fight. Eddie Alvarez, great fight. Dustin Poirier, great fight. James Vick, short fight but amazing performance. Edson Barboza, short fight but amazing performance. Donald Cerrone, short fight but amazing performance. Tony Ferguson, great fight and amazing performance for Justin Gaethje again. And then he lost to Khabib Nurmagomedov last October, and that's the last time he's fought. Was when he was the interim champion. He fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, lost, and Khabib retired. And that was last October at UFC 254. So it's been a little bit since Justin Gaethje has fought, and he's usually not that inactive. He's usually a pretty active fighter. And, for Justin Gaethje to step in last year against Tony Ferguson on what I think was like 3 weeks' notice or so, you got to just give him so much respect. Tony Ferguson, nobody, I know people are dancing on Tony Ferguson's grave now, but at that point in time, he had won so many fights in a row and he was so dominant. And Justin Gaethje stepped in and beat him badly. I know Justin Gaethje got dropped in that first round, but other than that, Gaethje just outclassed him the entire fight. Then you have Michael Chandler, who's only been in two fights in the UFC. He KOs Dan Hooker in the early first round in his debut, and then he loses to Charles Oliveira. But Michael Chandler was this close to being your lightweight champion. It's crazy because now both of these guys are basically coming off title fight losses. So you have Gaethje, who's coming off the Khabib loss in October, and you have Chandler, who's coming off the Oliveira fight. And that Charles Oliveira Chandler fight was just amazing for only going 2 rounds. What a great fight! And it was just crazy because Chandler was just so close to being the lightweight champion. And Charles Oliveira came out in that second round, made some adjustments, and just KO'd Michael Chandler. And I just think this was the fight to make. This was the most fan-friendly fight I can think of. Both guys are just always in exciting fights. I mean, I've watched Michael Chandler in Bellator for a while. Always exciting fights. I mean, his fights with Eddie Alvarez were some of the best in Bellator history. And I just feel like there's no way that Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje sucks. And on top of it being an amazing fight stylistically, it's also a fight that means something in the lightweight division. A win for either guy over the other means a lot as far as title implications in the division. I don't think either guy, I think maybe Justin Gaethje could get a title shot with a win. Chandler would probably have some work to do, but this will be a massive win. So this is a fight that actually matters. You have the former interim lightweight champion of Justin Gaethje versus former title challenger Michael Chandler. And what's crazy is this fight's been rumored so many times. I don't know if anybody remembers, and I'm going to tell you also why I think it took so long for this fight to come about. Because back in January of this year, for Chandler's debut, it was rumored for a while that it was going to be Justin Gaethje. And for some reason or another, it didn't happen. I'm going to tell you why I think that was in a minute. But this is a fight that since Chandler came into the UFC from Bellator, everyone wanted to see. Match him up with Justin Gaethje. And as far as the fight matches up, as far as the style matchup, you have Michael Chandler, who's just so explosive, power in both hands, super fast. And you have Justin Gaethje, who's so technical on the feet, has amazing leg kicks. He's just a great all-around fighter. But he has a little bit of, deficiency when it comes to takedown defense and his jiu-jitsu. And I don't know if his jiu-jitsu is that bad. It just looked terrible against Khabib Nurmagomedov. And he doesn't use it that much in realistic scenarios in real fights. So it's really hard to gauge where Justin Gaethje's jiu-jitsu is because we just don't see it, in high-level competition. I know he's training it, whatever. There's been I've heard some talk before that he doesn't like training wrestling or jiu-jitsu. I think he said that in an interview somewhere. But this fight, I don't know how it's going to play out because Michael Chandler can put anyone in the lightweight division to sleep with his hands. So can Justin Gaethje, though, and he can also kick your leg off. So I told you guys I would give you an early prediction. I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje. I just think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet. I think he's the more technical striker, and I think he'll kind of be able to, he has a very high fight IQ, and he has amazing stamina as well. And I think, as long as he doesn't get clipped early, I think, people are going to say Chandler can take him down just because Habib took him down and treated him like a baby on the ground. But Habib is just a whole nother animal when it comes to takedowns and chaining them together and cage wrestling. And I just don't know if Chandler's going to be able to do that. And Chandler kind of wears down a little bit, and especially when he's getting hit. And if Gaethje's piecing him up, Gaethje has filthy power. He can hurt Chandler bad. And I just think Gaethje will be able to pull this fight out. So that's my early prediction. As far as why I didn't think this fight didn't come together sooner is because Gaethje did an interview earlier this year, and he was complaining that the UFC was constantly offering him fights and wasn't giving him a 10 to 12 week training camp. He said he always wants a 10 to 12 week training camp for a fight. He does not like short notice fights. Any shorter than that, he said he was not taking the fights. So sometimes the UFC with events, they need to bolster a card and they'll offer a fight, a month, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in advance, and they hope somebody takes it, And I think probably the UFC offered Gaethje, maybe Chandler on 6, 7 weeks notice. And a lot of guys take fights on 8 weeks notice usually, but Gaethje wanted that extra time to prepare, and he said it in an interview with ESPN earlier this year. So I think that's why it didn't come together sooner. I know Michael Chandler was saying Gaethje was turning him down, but I honestly believe, and if you guys tuned into my live chat, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I said I thought inevitably this fight would come together. It just makes so much sense. Either guy, if they can pull off a win over the other, means a lot in the lightweight division. It's a stylistic, fan-friendly fight for the UFC to put on, and it's a fight that all of the fans want to see. Everyone's talking about that fight. Everyone says, is Gaethje versus Chandler going to happen? Who do you think is going to win, Gaethje versus Chandler? So we finally got it. It looks like it's going to happen at UFC 268, November 6th. I am so excited. Do me a favor, comment down below. Let me know who you think is going to win this fight. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, and I will see you in the next video.